Good morning and welcome to Today in L.A. And ladies and gentlemen, it is raining in Pike County, Alabama, and all over this part of the world. In fact, I just touched base with Mike Amos, my son, who lives in Grayton Beach, that comes in, calls in or zooms in every day on our show. I doubt if we're going to see much of him. They had 16 inches of rain already in the northwest Florida area, and flooding galore for the ones that are not up on stilts, and it's just been a real headache all night long for folks that live in that part of the Florida, and it's coming this way hard right now. Most of the schools are, in fact, all of the schools have begged out today, and rightfully so, because this is going to be one of the most torrential rainstorms I think we've seen in this part of the country in a long time. So if you're in any way threatened by flooding, you need to get out of where you are right now, because it's going to just get worse. It's just going to just get worse. So we're going to try to get some information to you this morning that will give you some indication of what we can expect. But from what I gather, the rain and the wind is going to get worse, not before it's going to get better here in Pike County, Alabama. So get ready for a huge rainstorm and windstorm. This morning there was over 100-mile-an-hour winds in certain areas of northwest Florida. Right now there's 70-mile-an-hour wind in northwest Florida right now. And like I said, tomorrow's going to be worse. So you prepare for today, and if you don't have to go out, don't go out, because there's some huge ruts of water that could cause damage not only to you but to your automobile, and of course what looks like just a small puddle might be a large puddle that could wash you away. So please be careful right now, and of course we hope to be getting in touch with some people that know more than we do right now. We've got Mike Amos is going to be calling in. He's the great thing about it, the bad thing about it, his house where he lives is in a flood-prone area, and it's up to 1.5 feet, 2 feet deep right now. But right next door to him is his wife's or parents' home that is on stilts, so they are out of harm's way from the water right now, and will continue to be, because they are on stilts. But anybody that has homes in the low-lying areas of Grayton Beach and northwest Florida are definitely going to be flooded if they're not already flooded. So again, schools in Pike County, Alabama are closed or will be closing, and we'll get some information in right now. Here's a call coming in right now. Good morning. You're on Today in L.A. How you doing?
Hi, morning.
Oh, boy. Mike Amos calling in from Grayton Beach. Tell us your situation, my friend.
Well, I mean, it's not good. We have horrible flooding throughout Grayton Beach. Possibly 16 inches of rain, they're saying. It's still raining.
Oh, man.
70-mile-per-hour wind gust. I mean, I don't know. I've been out since 3:30. We have a sump pump drainage system that just took on too much water. We luckily kept power. I know some friends of ours down here are have no power, but we.
But so far, most of the people have power.
Being great, yeah. I mean, I know some of the surrounding areas don't have power. I mean, you're talking about 70-mile-per-hour wind gusts. I mean, this ended up going over, I think, between Orange Beach and Pensacola, where the hurricane warnings actually went all the way to Destin, which is only like 12 miles from Grayton where we live. So, yeah, it's going to be a lot of cleanup, to say the least. I'm looking at our front yard, and it's literally a pond, and problem is we have a creek that runs from the state park through our yard, through our property, and it is now over our property as well. So
Oh,
we have
boy.
flowing water coming from the state park that's going to make our yard even more deeper, with water gushing out to Western Lake. So needless to say, it's not good.
And yesterday, your children's school was out down there, and now, of course, it's out today, and probably be out maybe the rest of the week. What do you think?
I mean, we've been canceled since Monday. So
Yeah.
Walton County Schools shut down on Monday. Yesterday was Tuesday. They're shut down today, which is Wednesday. Troy City schools are closed today as well.
That's right. In fact, more information you can get on that, I'd appreciate it. I know the Pike Liberal Arts is shut down.
What I saw last night with the cone and the tracking of the hurricane, it looks like the hurricane's going to be coming right through Troy later today.
And yeah, that's what I said. I think it's going to get worse before it gets better here in Pike County.
Yeah, this is such a slow moving storm. I think it's still only going 3 to 4 miles an hour, but I mean, it ended up intensifying, which is crazy. When I went to bed about 11, it was 85, I think, it was 85 miles per hour, and then when we woke up at 4, it was at 105.
Oh,
So it
man.
was actually a pretty strong category 2, so there's going to be tons of wind damage. It looks like it hit, like, right at the floor Bama. It's basically where it looked like it came over.
And of course, that's a very popular place for people to go. But I'm sure they're on stilts, though, and everything. The wind damage is what they got to be concerned about, don't you think?
Yeah, they'll have wind and water damage. I mean, I've heard there's a lot of big trees down in Mobile because due to the rain for so many days. But,
Yeah. I worry about that in Troy. We've had a lot of rain this summer,
Yeah, this storm is something else. We're just blessed that we have my mother-in-law's house next to us. Come over. So we are higher up high next door.
So you let the babies, since your house has a 2 stories.
2 stories. So we let the girls sleep upstairs, my wife and I. But I mean, we're going to be 2 feet deep at least over there.
How high is the water, Mama? Well, 6 feet and rising. You been singing that song this morning?
It's really bad, though. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. Like, I'd heard it flooded in Grayton before, but I had no idea until you actually see it. Now the creek next to me is like a roaring river, which is just getting higher and higher. So
is that gonna wash your fence away, or you just put up a brand new fence?
That's gonna wash a lot of the yard and possibly go out to the street pretty soon. It's so high.
Yeah.
I took a lot of pictures and sent them to Steve.
All right, the red bar, it's up on stilts, isn't it?
Yeah, it's up high. It's on stilts.
Yeah, I know, but what I'm saying that they wouldn't have built back here unless they built high enough for flood damage.
They're high enough. They won't. I mean, they would have to get 3 or 4 feet high for that to be affected. I mean, the red bar is about 200 yards from the house.
We're going to get a report from the National Weather Service.
Sand dunes and the state park is it'd be interesting to see how much water surge we have in Grayton, because they're talking about 5 to 7 feet around Pensacola.
All right. With the house that you're in right now, how far are you away from being flooded there, or can you?
We're up to like our knees, but I mean it's pretty high up. It has to get 4 or 5 feet.
Yeah, but it is a lot of water even against the house that you're in. Is that right?
Yeah. So
did you get?
These houses are both old. I mean, they're old original cottages from the 1940s. So I mean,
they've been through it before, haven't they?
Yeah, they've been through it before. So.
Yeah. But now, how about some of? There's some big.
Part of living on the coast. This just happens.
Yeah, I agree. Now, there's a lot of high rent folks just right next door and right around you. Are any of them underwater? Are any of them underwater?
No, I mean all these are big foundations and built higher up. We're in a house, unfortunately, that's a slab. So we're basically to the ground. So we have French drains and we have a sump pump. And, it ran and it saved us. We didn't have rain. We didn't have flood until literally. We had it on the porch early in the the afternoon, early in the night. But we didn't have flooding in our actual house until about 2:30 in the morning.
Yeah.
So, but now it's
Now, this is the ocean coming in here. Is it the ocean or the river?
no. This is the state park flooding with the rain.
Yeah.
So we got a pond, we got a lake flooding, and then it's going through the creeks,
Yeah.
and then it's coming into our house.
Well, y'all look out for the alligators, and they might be swimming by you for long.
I was looking at that last night. Trying to clear a drain.
Yeah, I mean, I'm laughing, but I know it's really not funny, but it's funny the way you.
I've been wet like 10 times the last
Yeah.
probably day or so.
Yeah.
I don't know how many times I've had to.
So in a minute to get to your house next door, you'd have to swim to it. Is that right?
It's getting that way. Yeah.
Are the streets flooded, or are they?
Oh yeah. The streets are flooded. Yeah.
So some people might be having to go by boat. Then is that right?
I mean, it could get like that before long. Yeah. I mean, definitely in spots. I mean, I feel like in our area, I mean, we probably have got it better than most because, we have so many big sand dunes and stuff. I mean, I can't imagine some of the areas that really were more low lying as far as when the water came over. So.
Well, I tell you, and what we're talking about here in Troy, Alabama, ladies and gentlemen, where this show originates from, we're in the basement of Troy Cablevision, and we're on Facebook, and you can watch us around the world, around the United States and around the world. Folks want to know the bad weather. We're getting a first-hand look at it from Mike Amos, who's one of the members of this show every morning. Instead of being on Zoom TV, he's calling into us on radio, and it's just not a pretty sight right now at Grayton Beach. If you own property right now, though especially in those low-lying areas, but they've been through it before. I mean, they've washed out before, and they'll build back. Is that right?
Yeah, I mean, it's just finally one of those things where, we put in drainage systems and put in sump pumps and kept our power, but it just, I mean, I could tell when I went out there last night about 11:30, there was just too much water.
Somebody wet my heart this morning. Boy, I got wet just going to get a newspaper this morning, Mike, much less being able to have to sit through it. And we're saying that at some spots right now, it's up to your knees in water. Is that right?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely up that high. I mean, it's one of those things where, unfortunately, it's still raining. So it's
all of that, all those tables and chairs washing away, or what's happening there?
Yeah, we got stuff washing away. We got shoes washing away that were outside. I just saw a pair of pink boots off.
Were those your children's pink boots, or whose?
Yeah, that's your grandkids.
Yeah, bless their hearts. Were there still a lot?
We're next door though, and thank goodness we got power. And we're dry and we're safe.
That's right. You're exactly right.
We got Wi-Fi. So I'm on the computer. We still got we picked up all the wiring and all our furniture and all the stuff that is up high now. So anything that gets wet is just really going to be the floors and a few small little things. But I think we're going to be all right once we get in there.
We're at right now, ladies and gentlemen, if you're tuning in to our show on Facebook, around the world on Facebook today, we're talking to Michael Amos live from Grayton Beach, Florida. One of the most beautiful places in this world is just being flooded like you wouldn't believe right now. Of course, thank goodness a lot of the homes now, I reckon they require all the homes now to be built up on stilts. Is that right?
Yeah, or just on foundation, I mean, just basically, basic foundation where they're, concrete, usually 3 or 4 feet up.
Of course, you think
we're surrounded by houses that are 3 and 4 stories that are $4 million. So
I know it.
Foundation.
I know it.
Pretty nice.
Well, holler up there. Get on your porch and holler up there and say, "How y'all doing up there? Y'all eating breakfast or what? What are y'all doing?"
I'm sure our yard is going to be the #1 picture taken in Great Beach today when they ride by.
How about your cars? Are they underwater right now, or how deep?
I mean, they're on the backside. We're off the Pontiac Street, which heads towards the reservoir, and then we're on Magnolia Street in the back. So there's luckily the flooding in that area is not as bad as the front.
So the front is the main front that goes into Grayton Beach.
Yeah, I mean, we have a slope coming down, and it's just a perfect. I mean, it'll fill in just like a pond, and then you got the creek next door that's literally on our property that now is overflowing the creek, and the creek is now running into our yard as well.
Well, I hope you've got plenty of bread and milk. Do you have plenty of bread and milk, or are you gonna have to get in the boat and go get some?
We packed some stuff from next door and carried a bunch of stuff over, so we'll be all right. And I don't know. We might end up at your place later on.
Hey, well, you're sure welcome. But now, tell us a little bit about us. You've researched this thing quite a bit this morning. It's not going to get any better here. It's going to get worse where we are right now, don't you think?
Projected track looks like it's coming to Troy. I mean, it could be definitely a tropical storm when it hits Troy. I mean, I think it's going to be a Category 1 until, late into the day from what I was seeing, because it's just such a slow mover. I think Troy will definitely be tropical storm winds. So you're talking about possibly 60 mile per hour wind gusts.
Oh, that's rough, yeah. And like you said, with all
you'd have a lot of trees.
Yeah. One thing that I worry about,
I know this definitely doesn't help Chid Lindsey and his players and staff trying to get ready for their first game against Middle Tennessee.
No question about it. In fact, I'm wondering if they don't go ahead and bust ahead a couple of days.
I don't know if they do that. They're probably going to have to wait. I mean, I guess we'll just try to practice in Trojan Arena.
Yeah. I was watching, ladies and gentlemen, we're live on Today in L.A. That's Lower Alabama.
Yeah, I mean, it looks like the track right now, I mean, it might not even be in Troy until tomorrow morning.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe like after midnight tonight.
From what I gather, I know schools are closed today and tomorrow. I'm almost positive they're closed tomorrow. I'd like to maybe call in and find out for sure, but we need to find out for our people that are watching exactly what's happening in our school systems right now. I'm almost positive. It sounds like me that the smart thing to do maybe with the flooding is just shut it down until and come back on Monday. What do you think?
I mean, it just depends. If y'all get a direct hit, I guess. I mean, if you get 10 inches of rain, I would think so.
Well, and of course, you've got your situation. You've got some events coming up like Charles Henderson and Andalusia in football.
Andalusia has now been moved to Friday night.
I know. Well, and that was a smart move, but
they made it from Thursday to Friday.
And so that will make a lot bigger difference, but because instead of Thursday night, they'll play now on Friday night when they originally were scheduled to play. Andalusia and Troy, Mike had.
Point Liberal Arts is going to get a forfeit win due to some COVID issues on whoever they were going to play with.
Oh, really? I was wondering about that. I knew that game had been canceled, and that game was going to be played though in Troy, though, Mike, wasn't it?
Yeah, but I mean the team they were playing on, I'm not sure. I'm kind of out of it right now. I've had a whole lot of sleep, but
yeah. Well, I appreciate what you're offering us.
I thought where they're going to be 4-0 is what it's because whoever had the forfeit.
Well,
there's a lot of COVID issues in high school football I read about locally yesterday. I'll have to pull up an article.
Well, I tell you what, it's sort of scary.
Apparently, Kyle Toole is pushing Nick Free for the backup quarterback job at Troy. Coach Lindsey said he didn't know who would be the backup now.
And the other thing too is that this junior college All-American, who is rated
fourth string,
is now fourth string behind a country boy from Brantley and a country boy from South Georgia. There's
good football everywhere.
Oh yeah, that's what I'm saying. No question about it, Mike. And I'm gonna put you on hold a second, and I'm gonna see if I can reach somebody with the city schools, to see what the situation. Well, really, I'm sure they haven't made the final decision yet, but I would think that they would shut it down at least for tomorrow and possibly for Friday, and we'll pass that word on to you as soon as we know ourselves. But Troy University, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to put you on hold a second and see what Troy University is going to do, or what they've planning on making public this morning. All right, here we go. Well, that's not going to get it done. Let's do it. Let's see. Here we go. We're calling Troy University to see what their
Thank you for calling Troy University. Our offices are now closed. If this is an emergency,
I'm sorry, an operator is not available. Thank you for calling.
All right, right now though, it's going to be sort of hard to getting through to everybody, but right now it looks like, hey, you're staying home today, no question about it. You folks going to school at any of the county schools or Pike Liberal Arts or Troy University, you can believe that is shut down for classes this morning, and probably tomorrow also. So, and there could be, and maybe the smart thing to do is to shut down for Friday, because they say that the weather is going to get worse, Mike, like you said here in Troy, before it gets better, don't you think?
Yeah, I mean, you're going to, trees fall due to the rain. I mean, we're having limbs and debris fall all in our yard right now.
All right, Mike, this all started. Mike,
okay, go ahead.
this all started. This time of our life is different than any time, I think, in maybe our history, with the things that are happening to us in our part of the country. First of all, we had the big hurricane in Panama City. You remember that?
That was 2 years ago.
Well, and that was 2 years ago, but they were still suffering from it. You know, still a lot of rebuilding to do from that storm. And then we had the COVID come through on us, and that shut down everybody, and still has a lot of people shut down. And then we had a storm just a couple of weeks ago that just devastated Louisiana. In fact, a lot of people say, Mike, if that storm would have hit a populous area, it'd been the worst hurricane in our nation's history. Did you know that? The winds were that strong, but thank goodness, they say thank goodness it didn't go into where people lived, you know.
Yeah.
Now we turn around, and 2 weeks later we got another storm to deal with. We're dealing with the virus. We're dealing with so many obstacles right now.
Yeah, I mean, it's scary. I mean, to say the least. I mean, like I said before, it's just part of living on the coast, part of living in paradise. You got the hurricane seasons. I wouldn't trade it for the world where I live.
Well, right now you're looking at your house and it's 2 feet underwater, or maybe even more, and you're calling, and when it dries up, everybody calls it paradise. I know it's not funny. But it's the truth, you know.
I mean, when you get 16 inches of rain, you just don't have a chance. It doesn't matter if you got drainage systems, sump pumps, and it's just too much water. So.
Did your children go back to sleep? Did Amir Prater and Millie go back to sleep?
No, they're over here playing.
Okay, well, good.
Cartoons.
It might turn out to be fun for them. It might turn out to be fun.
It's not going to be fun.
But now, Mike, of course, the rain, and ladies and gentlemen, this is what we're so concerned about here. The rain and the flooding is yet to come in this part of the country, and it's very slow. That's what made this storm so dangerous, is that it's so slow. We're talking about at one time close to 100-mile-an-hour winds, but at the same time it was moving very, very slow, and it continues to move very, very slow. So the slower a storm is, you would hope that the storm would come and go away. They would just move on out. But this storm doesn't seem like it's moving on out. It's just taking its time. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, that's what they kept on talking about the ocean. I mean, they missed the comb by a mile, a knot many miles on this. I mean, this is.
Were they on? Tell us about that. Were they on the money?
I mean, no. Originally, it was supposed to go to New Orleans.
Yeah.
And then it was supposed to go between Biloxi or Gulfport and Biloxi, and then it was supposed to go between Biloxi and Mobile. It ends up even bypassing Mobile and hits between. It looks like Orange Beach and Pensacola is where it hits. Just crazy. I was going to get back to Troy football news. I was reading an article right here about Northview product Jack Martin.
Yeah, kicker.
Yeah, and the sophomore junior Evan Lagasse are still battling for place kicking duties. Of course, they're replacing Tyler Sumter, who is now the kicker of West Virginia.
Did you see him Saturday at all? Did you see? I know he kicked a bunch of extra.
I didn't watch the game, but yeah, I've seen he kicked all the extra points. But anyway, Lindsey said that both guys right now are still, battling for the job. Nobody's consistently kicking to the point where he can name a starter there. The punter is going to be a guy that transferred in, I guess, 3 or 4 years ago out of California named Kyle Cole. Yeah,
I noticed him, Mike, and what makes him a good kicker, he's real athletic. He also works out as a receiver. He's a very good athlete, about that, and sometimes that pays off.
Yeah, I think he transferred in like 2 or 3 years ago from Eastern Illinois or some school like that, but he'll be your punter, and then Luke Whittemore, who's the holder for kicks and has been battling a foot injury, is going to be 100%, it looks like, and he'll play at wide receiver, which is good because he's also the holder. And then also, big news, a freshman starter, Louis Medina, 6'1", 315-pound nose tackle out of Summerville, Georgia, is going to be a starter as a pure freshman.
Golly.
Apparently he was a high school wrestler at 285 pounds. And can really move. Apparently he's...
Ladies and gentlemen, we've got a holding penalty.
30 pounds since he has gotten to Troy. So that's a big, strong nose tackle right there.
So he came in here at weighing 285, and now he weighs 315?
That's what it says.
Oh, boy. And Troy's getting ready to go to Murfreesboro, Tennessee this weekend. Mike, they opened up the door for tickets for people like me and you to buy tickets yesterday at 10 o'clock. And it didn't take them long at all to just run through them. I had some friends of mine that were, I had a friend of mine needed 5 tickets, and they wouldn't give him but 4. And I said, well, I mean, how in the world can you get arm's length and not have an extra ticket that he could give to at least one more person? But that's why they told him. They said, hey, we've got 4, we don't have 5. But now that was being able to sit within, 6, 8, 10 feet of each other.
Yeah, here's an article about the local high school team. So the latest news came Tuesday when Rehoboth canceled this game against Pike Road, according to head coach Peyton Harrison, in Class 5A Region 2 game. Rehoboth will have to forfeit, dropping the Rebels' record now to 2-3 and 0-3 in region play due to a positive COVID-19 case. So they will not play. Of course, this is Harrison's first year at Rehoboth. Then Pilo Barnes, meanwhile, will not play on Friday after his opponent Edgewood Academy had a positive test and had to go into quarantine.
And Edgewood is located in Wetumpka. But now let me ask you this. Rehoboth was beaten by Carroll High of Ozark last Friday night. Wouldn't you think that the players on Carroll High's teams would have to be...
yeah, I mean, that's a situation you would think, but it has not been released yet. So the Patriots now go to 4-0. Also, Northside Methodist Academy, according to text from Jason Hurd, is set to return to playing field on Friday after having to sit out last week's game against Wicksburg with a positive test. Enterprise picks up a game. It took less than 24 hours for Enterprise to fill its sudden open day following Early County in Georgia's departure due to COVID-19. The Wildcats, according to Athletic Director Trent Trewick, on Tuesday added Carroll of Ozark next Friday. The game will be at Wildcat Stadium in Enterprise.
So Enterprise is going to play their
next door neighbor. Carroll.
Next door neighbor. That'll be a good game for both teams. Hopefully, I'm going to put you on hold a second. Might be right back. Good morning and welcome to Today in LA.
Mike, it's Max. How are you this morning?
Max Howell, we're really going through it down here. We got storms and storms, and it's probably not even raining up there where you are, is it?
It's a sun's shining up here, Mike.
Are you serious? Don't tell us that, Max. Please don't.
Listen, I worked all day yesterday in Birmingham and Montgomery, and trying because I knew the weather. See, my daughter, son-in-law, and son are all at the coast. They're all in Gulf Shores this morning.
Yeah.
So I've had to stay in touch with them and be sure that they're fine and secure.
Yeah. All right. Well, let me bring Mike in from. Listen to this now. He's in Graydon Beach, and they're expecting 16 inches for us all over of rain. So let me bring Mike Amos in here a second, right here, Max. We'll be right back with you. Let's see here, right here, and right here. There we go. We got both of you now. Hello,
Yeah, I'm here.
Mike.
Yeah, you got me.
Mike, we got Max Howell on Rain or Shine. Hey, he said rain or shine, he'll be here. And of course,
I was gonna mention we were talking about some high school information, and we didn't even mention this yesterday, but the state's top running back is the kid out of Geneva County, Emmanuel Henderson.
yeah.
Everybody in the country wants him. All he did against Arrington was rush for 367 yards.
Oh man.
367 yards, 5 touchdowns on 30 carries, and their 54-41 win over Arrington.
Oh man.
He had runs of 21, 85, 1, 35, and 36.
Oh man.
He is the real deal. We might have to have.
Now, is he of course, Geneva County High School is located in Hartford, Alabama, and of course, some of the all-time greats, early win, came out of there. But, Max, this kid must be the real deal, but he's just a junior, isn't he, Mike?
That's right.
I mean, he's got another year of high school, doesn't he?
I believe so. I think he's just a junior. I don't know. I had to make sure. Also, the Pike County running back you were trying to mention that scored the 6 touchdowns. A guy named Zapian Pennington scored 6 touchdowns.
The kid from Pike County High School scored 6 touchdowns in their big win this past weekend. Pike County is loaded again. And
they were up 18-14 with 4 minutes left before the half, and they won 60-14.
60-14, and of course, this kid's a junior. The kid from Pike County evidently is a senior. Scored 6 touchdowns. And Max Howell is calling in. Are you back home now? Or you're at a motel?
I got back. I drove over yesterday, Mike, because I knew the weather was going to be bad. And I was scheduled. I told you last week I was going to plan on coming back to Troy and spend the night last night.
Yeah, that would have been great. Yeah.
But we saw the weather coming in, by the weekend, so I had to change all those plans. But I did work in Birmingham and Montgomery yesterday before the flood came in. I don't think the wind damage is. Michael probably know more about this, but my daughter and son down on the coast this morning said mainly it's just rain. And they expected somewhere between 15, 20 inches of rain.
Yeah, it's really. In fact, like we said,
we're underwater. We're underwater as we speak in Graydon.
and I don't know if the any of the people that are supposed to take charge with it when you get situations like storms and wind damage and flood damage and things like that. But I'm sure we'll be directed in more cases of flooding and wind damage. So that's what we got to look forward to here in Pike County. Max Howell's calling from Fulton, Mississippi. Fulton, Mississippi is located. How far north of Jackson is Fulton?
Well, over 3 hours. Mike.
All right, over 3 hours, and then you.
I'm 30 miles from the state of Tennessee state line.
Yeah.
I'm right up in the northeast corner.
Yeah.
In Fulton, on the Tennessee Tombigbee River, and that's a navigable river.
Oh yeah, you can go all the way to Mobile on it. Yeah.
I can put a boat in outside my house and go to Mobile, or go all the way up into Kentucky.
That's right.
The north side. So yeah, it's really an interesting area, to tell you the truth. It's called the Hill Country. Not a lot of agriculture, mostly pine woods and lumber businesses up this way. Some flat lands, but not places in hell. And why I chose Etowah County, I'm going to tell you, because the lifestyle and the politics are exactly like I left them in Prattville, Alabama in the 50s. Check yourself in with these people. They got a very conservative approach to every aspect of life, and will give you the shirt off their back on any given day.
Mike, let me tell you this. Of course, we're fighting everything around here, Max. We've had storms in the last couple of years, storms galore, and hurricanes, and
yeah, Max, you missed it. We've got about 2 feet of water in my house, so I'm next door to my mother-in-law's house.
Right now, Michael would have to swim. He would have to swim to his house next door.
Bless your heart. Hey, listen, I lived in Destin for 11 years. I know all about that.
And
Destin ended up being under the comb in the hurricane. There's hurricane warnings in Destin, which is only 12 miles from here. So
very true. So
how high did the winds ever get? Did they ever get over 100 miles an hour?
Oh yeah, when it came ashore, it was 100 miles.
So it's probably already done a lot of damage, and that we hadn't even heard about so far.
Well, it looks like it came right over Orange Beach and Pensacola.
Max, you could almost throw a rock from Michael's house at Grayton Beach to the Red Bar. You've been to the Red Bar, I know.
Oh, I have not been since it's been reopened.
Yeah, well, they've reopened it now.
I was a regular there when it was open before. We lived in Destin.
Yeah, well, it's opened back up again, but I don't know how much damage they got with all this going through. But it's just rough times right now. All the schools are out right now in Pike and surrounding counties, and Troy University is shut down. And in fact, the weather is supposed to be getting worse tomorrow from where we are right now. So I'm sure these schools will continue to be shut down on Thursday, and probably shouldn't even go back on Friday because of flooding. What do you think? What would you think?
Yeah, I think that's everything. I've been watching the weather for a couple of days. The whole southeast. The good thing is once this front moves on out across, it's supposed to move up and cross you all over Montgomery and on across out the Atlantic. Well, that's a cold front. This weekend, Mike, lows at night are in the mid-50s and the highs in 70s.
Yeah.
Coming up this weekend, so it'll be cool.
Yeah, Troy's game day weather, 71 degrees at 3 p.m. for kickoff, and the low is going to be 49, I believe.
Yeah. And the great thing about the Troy game, Max, we've got ESPN2, so we got some good. Isn't that right, Mike? We're going to be on ESPN2.
Yeah, they moved it to ESPN2 from ESPNU.
So that means a lot of people will be able to watch this Troy Middle Tennessee game. A friend of mine tried to get tickets from over there. You could have called yesterday at 10 o'clock, and he asked for 5 tickets, and they said, well, we only have 4 that we could take care of your 5. We could only give you 4 tickets, and wouldn't give him the extra ticket. I mean, that guy can just have to, I reckon, sit out in the parking lot or something. I don't know.
Let me ask you, Mike, what's the number? What is the percent number? Is it 20, 25%? They got a set number on how many tickets they'll sell?
I don't know how that works, but the general public got a chance to buy them yesterday at 10 o'clock, and that meant Troy people. Do you know what I'm hearing now? And it's just
the stadium holds about 35,000.
Yeah.
Alabama Stadium held 26, and they only had 6,500 at the game. So I would think it would be somewhere around maybe 8 or 9,000.
And the pitiful thing about it, and I'm saying pitiful if this is going to be the case, when Troy plays South Alabama, Max, they're not going to even sell any tickets to out-of-towners unless you buy. The only way you could go to that game is to buy tickets from somebody in Mobile. They're not going to allow the schools to have any tickets other than parents and so forth.
How many tickets do they give the opponent, Mike?
See, I don't know. I don't know about that. I know this that by rule they have to give it.
Everybody I've talked to says anywhere from 500 to 700.
Yeah, it's not many. And that's supposed to be take care of parents and people like that,
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Yeah.
Well,
South Alabama looked pretty good the other night until Tulane decided to start playing, and next thing you know,
No, but
South Alabama blows the 24-6.
Max, did you watch that? Max, I know you look at the whole game, and did you watch that game at all, Max? The South Alabama Tulane game.
I didn't on Saturday, but they replayed it up here on Tuesday night.
Yeah.
I watched every play.
Well, let me tell you this: the right tackle for, and bless his soul, the right tackle for South Alabama could not block anybody. They ran around him and threw him. I mean, it was like he wasn't even there, and he weighs about 350.
Yeah.
And that one defensive end pretty much beat South Alabama because that guy couldn't block him.
I don't know why. They must not have any depth.
I know it. Evidently, and the guy was huge. Now the guy was about 6'6", 6'7", weighed about 325 or 350 or something like that.
Yeah, no feed though.
That's right, and surely they saw that because but they never replaced him like you said.
They don't have any depth,
Yeah,
obviously.
that's right.
It
It goes to show you if you're going to throw the football, you better have somebody that will block up front for you because if they don't, you're going to be in trouble.
Yeah, well, I don't know why. Those guys have been around a while and won championships and all that.
Oh yeah.
There are ways to use those kind of guys, but they, like you said, Mike, they never made adjustments to it.
And another guy that I watched, and I'm scared to death to play him because of him. The Arkansas State's got a nose guard. He's number 92. He probably weighs 350. And nobody can block him. It takes two guys to block him.
I was going to say it's the double.
Have you noticed that guy? Have you noticed that nose guard?
Yeah, and what they'll do, they'll offset him. Get one guy for the other. Basically.
Yeah, that's right.
If they two guys, that frees up your linebacker.
That's exactly right. And make two guys block him. And you know what? A guy like that gets in a player's minds a little bit, doesn't it? When he starts whipping everybody, we can't block him, that type of thing.
Particularly the center has got to make that snap and they in a gun. He's got that head up, looking at which gap that guy's in because he's got to take care of him, and that causes some erratic snaps sometimes. In particularly critical situations for the
We got Max Howell, our guest, ladies and gentlemen, brought to you by Premier Dodge Chrysler Jeep and Ram Trucks.
You had to be happy if you're the Sun Belt commissioner when three Sun Belt teams beat three Big 12 teams to start the football season. Of course, Kansas was awful. Because it was up 28-0 at one time.
Iowa State was completely overrated.
Les Miles out of his mind.
Yeah, but Iowa State was completely overrated too.
Yeah. Well, let me just say this. It all goes back to what I've said all these years when they first did this. If all you can sign is 25 players, let me tell you this: everybody's going to have players because there's probably 2,000 players out there, and the big boys can't get but 25 of them. So that means the little boys can get premium players. Don't you agree, Max?
They do, but let me tell you, that's just the first step, Mike. You got to do something once you get them there.
Yeah. You're right. If he doesn't play hard for you, you don't want him, do you?
Well, like I say, the background on each one of those guys is completely different. They were raised different. Their attitude's different. Recruiting is not just going out there and talking to the kids and getting them to come to your school.
Yeah.
You got to see your fits. There's 100 things that can't go wrong with that process. But the talent level is the first thing you measure.
But all right, then we've seen Austin Peay, and we've seen some of the middle central Missouri and central Arkansas, whatever, and that's one AA. You can tell there's a big difference in a 1AA talent compared to Division 1A. That's why Troy, as a Division 1A team, is going to get premium talent. Don't you agree?
Well, they do. I think it was no more evident than I don't know whether you watch Clemson or not, but their talent level is so much better than even most Division 1.
Oh, yeah.
That was so smooth and just, in fact, Dabo started playing his twos in the second quarter. And both his best defensive linemen just were in high school last year.
want to mention Premier Dodge Chrysler Jeep and Ram trucks on the bypass right here in Troy. And, of course, remember the Premier Dodge Chrysler Jeep and Ram trucks picks of the week is this Friday right here on this show. We're talking to Max Howell, one of the leading football analysts in the country. And, of course, he talks to a lot of talk shows, but he gives us more airtime than anybody else. I reckon it's how much I pay you. I reckon I just pay you a lot more than everybody else does. Is that right, Max?
You do, Mike. You do, and I appreciate that. I do 6 shows a week, but you know this show I do a full hour.
Hey, and all we get out of it is what is he going to have for supper?
Yeah, and you know that as hot as it's been, that we're gonna pick that up. Bird season's in now. So
oh, I know it. That's right.
Yeah, I get a chance to cook a lot of wild game now.
Now, see, our bird season now. Hear this now. Our bird season in Alabama doesn't start until the next weekend. But then you've got Alabama and Auburn kicking off next weekend, and everybody be watching football. You know the worst thing? Everybody always asks me, and Max, I know growing up in Prattville, Alabama, you went dove hunting. You know, there'd be a dove shoot. Well, back then, you know, and I used to go every Saturday, and I'd carry my transistor radio into the field with me in a bucket, and I'd sit there and eat raw peanuts, and then listen to the ball game. You'll be Alabama, somebody on the radio. And that's what we did. We went to the dove hunt first and then listened to the radio. But since TV has every game on now, televised on now, it's killed dove hunting. If you're going to dove hunt, you better go on Sunday morning. You know what I mean?
Well, Mike, you're right. And of course, what we do up here, both of these groups I cook for, both of them got houses on the river.
Yeah.
So we'll go, we'll cook, and all of them got big TVs and all that. So we'll go, the first weekend, everybody dove hunted up to lunch. Then I cooked at lunch and got at 2 o'clock. And then we, retired to the deck and flipped the TV on and watched whatever was on. That's what we do all fall.
Well, let me tell you this, and of course, our dove hunts, Chase Riddle used to go with us all the time, and Joe Dotson and Heldon Fowler. We used to have the best dove hunts in the country, and James Smith's farm. And, they had it all baited down, But the most fun was after the hunt, everybody would throw all the dove into one basket, and one guy would take the dove home and clean them and put them in the cooler. And when we got enough for a big bird supper, we would cook them and tell us what we would have. And let me see what would be the difference in a Pike County dove shoot fry compared to a Mississippi one. How would y'all do it?
They don't save, Mike. They don't save them up here. They bring them straight on. They skin them. They don't. They skin them.
I mean, what I'm saying, he'll clean them and everything, but we put them all together so we'll have enough for a big feed,
Well, see, what these people do, we'll fix whatever birds they kill, but then we'll add squirrel, we'll add deer meat,
we'll
add, whatever else is in the freezer.
Yeah.
We're going to bring it. I cooked for 25 weeks ago.
Yeah.
So, I mean, but yeah, we have all the sides. We got baked beans, potato salad, garlic bread, and all that.
Yeah.
The big one up here in the early part is what we call onion gravy. It's a thick made of, if you got cholesterol problem, you don't need to eat that. Probably.
Yeah, exactly.
And then we'll top it off with either some berry pies or the Mississippi blood pie, the big chocolate cake.
But the big difference, Max, I'm talking about a big difference is dove and grits and biscuits. Dove and grits. Y'all don't serve grits with y'all at y'all bird suppers?
Sometimes we do, but these guys up here, they have different fun. Remember, when you get 25 guys together, you're gonna have all kind of different eating habits.
And all I do to clean them, I just reach in there and pull that breast out and just throw those breasts in the pan, and we'll cook them later on. Y'all don't pick the bird, do you?
No, we skin them. We'll skin them and pop the breast out. We wrap them in bacon, though.
Oh yeah.
Put them on the grill, or we'll deep fry them, like some. We'll have it even on the side. Mike, I've done shrimp with it as well.
Yeah.
We'll have a couple of pounds of shrimp thrown.
Oh
in
yeah.
there.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's a celebration of the fall.
Yeah.
That first time, I will tell you.
Max Howell, of course, ladies and gentlemen, grew up in Prattville, Alabama. He started working out with weights because his daddy saw something on, what was that guy that had an article in the paper? Charles Atlas. Saw Charles Atlas one day in the newspaper, and he said, well, I'm going to put my son on the weight program. And surely he did. And, of course, out of high school, he went to Auburn. And, back then they could sign 100 players if they wanted to, couldn't they, Max?
That's right.
And, of course,
Mike, it was 111 in that signing class, by the way.
111 in that signing class. So you wouldn't want to go somewhere where you knew you could play right away. And you went to Troy. And when you got there, they had a guy named John Faircloth. They had a guy named Jim Tompkins. But none of them had really been in the weight program that you were. You told me your neck was 21 inches. Is that right? Back then you couldn't even wear clothes. Y'all had to order special clothing, didn't you?
I wore a 21 neck and a 32 sleeve.
Oh boy! and I knew that you were huge, but you had to wear T-shirts because you couldn't find a regular shirt that fit you, could you?
I had to wear open neck shirts all I could ever wear. Basically.
Yeah. And those sleeves,
I wore a 54 sport coat.
Okay. I know this, that you were big and strong, no question about it. And then, of course, he played his college football at Troy. And I want to say right out of high school, right out of college, you went to work with Carroll High of Ozark, didn't you?
I did. Yes, yeah.
And, of course, that was a good program that you worked under, and you just happened
I was there 2 years, Mike. Then I went to Bay High in Panama City. We won the conference that year. We had about 7 Division I players. Got them off, and that summer I went back to Troy to start on my master's. And Billy Atkins was hired, and Earl Watson hired me to teach first.
Yeah.
And then Billy came in, and I went over to the coaching staff, and he brought 2 guys. He brought Philip Quill with him. He brought Bill Marsh.
Bill Marsh,
I was the 4th guy on the staff. That he and Billy had a run-in.
Well, it was caught his running back. Yeah.
And Billy elevated me, and I coached both offensive and defensive line, and I called every snap for Silver.
Ladies and gentlemen, and you were a young coach, and the amazing thing about it, you were going to graduate school, and it just happened that Atkins got the job, and he saw that you were a big, strong coach, young coach, an enthusiastic. That's what I noticed about you. You were very enthusiastic, and he needed that kind of coach on his staff because he and Creel were not these, jumping up and down guys. You were a real emotional guy,
Oh man, and listen, I come from the side from the hash marks, Mike.
Yeah.
They had to drag me back home.
That's right.
They have filthy now. They wouldn't let me do that. But hey, I think my biggest thrill though was in practice. You go back and ask any of those guys. We run a play on offense, and they make a tackle. I jump right in the pile. Yeah. Right on top.
I know you were that kind of coach. And see, another thing, you were big and strong. You had those big biceps. And that big old neck that you sort of intimidated those guys in a way. Big and strong as you were. Were you the weight coach too?
Yeah. Oh yeah. We did the off season. Billy brought the off season. I told you the first place he sent me was the University of Nebraska. They had the best college weight program in the country. They brought that to the NFL.
Yeah.
From the NFL. And I went out there and stayed a couple of times, two different summers out there. And, and we created our weight program. Remember I told you, Mike, we got there, Troy's weight program was just for the physical
education. Yeah.
Department, see, and that was Dick Costelli. That's the way he taught kinesiology about, using the weights to.
He used to drop his drawers. He would stand up on a stage-like thing. He would drop his drawers, and I'm not trying to be silly here or anything. He would say, "Here is that muscle we're talking about." He was so defined and everything but he would literally drop his drawers and he was teaching. He wasn't trying to be silly. He was teaching. He probably knew. He probably knew more about the bone structure than any doctor in that part of the country at one time, probably.
No doubt. He was an excellent instructor.
But another thing about you, Max Howell, and this was what was bigger than anything. In high school, you coached Joe Kelly and Danny Grant. I played on that Charles Simpson team that beat y'all and shut y'all out. That was the craziest thing in the world. But I think you were on that staff then. But you helped us bring Danny Grant to Troy. You knew Danny Grant was at Chattanooga, and didn't you go up there and get those guys?
Oh, yeah. Look, I got Paul Bridgefield, Alvin Dees, and Danny Grant.
That's right.
All there.
And then later on, you know, he had already left, but you got Bobby Anslem because he had played 1 year with that bunch.
Got Bobby Anslem back. That's true.
That's right.
Yeah, I mean, it was really fun because we were offering something that was so much different. Like it was so new throwing the football around, and you know, and I told you that story a few times. We had some good athletes, but let me tell you, Billy brought the system in to put.
That's right.
It made everybody else look like really small high school. You know, and we won with it. We won big time. We won at the national level with it.
Okay, it's raining cats and dogs, and April showers, of course, have gone by a long time ago, but it has been wet in this part of the country. The ground is wet and soft, and with these heavy winds coming up the trail, you might have some trees down, so be careful for that. Be careful for all of this flooding that's going to take place up in Alabama, where if you'll follow this, Mike, you still on, aren't you? Now, Mike has left us, but it's a lot of wet weather coming our way. We're going to be right back to more of Today in L.A. and Max Howell. We'll be back in just a moment. Right now, we don't have anybody in the box, so we'll keep it right here. Max Howell calling from a drive, Fulton, Mississippi. Y'all, you said the sun is out?
Oh, yeah.
You ought to be ashamed of yourself, Max. I'm going to tell people that you just flaunted it this morning, that you got sunshine, and you already been for your walk, and you've already...
That's right. I got up early, read the paper, walk, got my cup of coffee, and dialed you up, and here we are.
I tell you what, and I've known this guy a long time. He's the real deal, and it doesn't take much to make you happy, does it, Max? Yeah, that's right. You're laid back, and your life, you've lived your life very close to the Lord too.
And then, you know, I've been very blessed, Mike. You know that we've had this conversation about that throat too. Very little illness in my life, a couple of injuries along the way, but that was because I'm always out there trying to create something new. I'm a risk taker, and I've been fortunate enough in that to make some of them work, some of them don't. But it's been a great life, and I'm obviously closer to the end of it than I used to be. But I don't look at it that way, man. Every day I get up, it's a new challenge for me.
All right, Max, now you're already in the Hall of Fame. You've been inducted already in the Hall of Fame. Is that right?
Yeah, I've been voted in, but we hadn't had the...
Oh, yeah, we hadn't had that. That's right. And I wonder that they'll probably end up doing that ceremony with 2 years together, wouldn't you think?
Yeah, they're going to do it in April right now. Scheduled for April the 19th and the 20th.
Yeah. Talking about the virus, have y'all been hit pretty hard up there?
Not in comparison to some of the bigger towns. Tupelo has 2,000 cases, and we've got about 400, I guess. But it's like everywhere else, Mike. The severe cases and the deaths that we know of are in the nursing homes, the retirement centers, and every one of these people have the underlying health problems in addition.
Yeah.
We've had high school football is going on, college football is going on. They get announced every day. If they got enough people.
I think it's going to happen.
What is that interference? We got some kind of bad interference on it.
I don't know, but right now, on my voice, you said.
Yeah, it's on your side, I think.
So it's
Anyway, yeah, but it interferes with our conversations.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I know. I mean, I hear you very well, but you have a hard time hearing me.
Yeah, that's where it's coming out of.
I could be.
Interference. It's probably you got interference from with the weather down there.
Yeah, well, it might so, but right now we're going to go on break. We're going to be right back in just a moment. Still nobody at the top. Brought to you by Jean's Flowers. They've been a sponsor of ours for a long time. I want to mention our big Friday picket contest starts this Friday from our studios. It's Premier Dodge Chrysler Jeep and Ram Trucks Picks of the Week, brought to you by Premier Dodge Ram and Chrysler and Jeep, and we appreciate Ram Trucks and all the great support they give to not only athletics but all things that pertain to kids in our area. And of course, it's so great to have Premier as one of our sponsors. Max Howell is our guest, and of course we're right now not going on break right this minute, but the one game that's already been canceled, and this bothers me a little bit, Max, is that the BYU and Army game has been canceled. Have you heard that?
Right, I did.
Yeah, and then Troy goes to Provo the next week, the 26th, right, to play BYU, and I sure hope we don't run into a problem. What do you think?
Well, I think we're going to have that problem, Mike, every week. It's going to be some delays. There's going to be some cancellations.
But this was going to be a big ball game, so evidently it must have been pretty bad.
Normally, I don't know what the number happens to be, but I got an app, Neil Brown, and I watched West Virginia last weekend, and they won by 50 points, and they have 11 kids out, 3 starters off that bunch. So Neil's got his team headed the right direction, but they even played with that many kids out. So I think it depends on the individual state you're in, whatever the legal ramifications that come from that, and then the coaching staff and the president of the states have to make a decision on if they're going to play or not.
Campbell University played Georgia Southern last weekend. Georgia Southern had as many as 30 players out.
Wow.
30 players, and they trailed Campbell University the entire ball game until late, and they pulled it out late, or they would have lost to Campbell because of it, a 1AA team. And that that wouldn't have looked good. That wouldn't have looked good for Georgia Southern,
It did, but they chose to play. See.
Yeah, that's right.
Sure that's the
hey, you know what? You know what the old coach was saying to himself? He said, "Oh man, they can't stop the wishbone. We'll just put our third string out there." That's about true. That third string, stopping the wishbone, it can be pretty tough, don't you think?
Well, yeah, but let me tell you, there's a reason for the third string.
Yeah, that's right.
They aren't as good as number ones and twos.
Yeah.
That's what I was talking about. Mike, you can get them there, but you got to do something, and hone those skills, so that those kids that have the athletic ability get better each week.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is pouring down rain right here at our studios on South Brunny Street. Max Howell's our guest, and we've got a terrible rainstorm going on right now outside of our doors here, and of course we're located in a basement, a big, of course it's our studio here at Troy Cablevision, and hope that you're enjoying our show this morning, brought to you by Premier Dodge Chrysler Jeep and Ram Trucks on the bypass, and of course First Citizen Bank of Luverne, one of our strong supporters. Max, this is a big weekend this weekend, but the big weekend starts the next weekend with the SEC. And let me just say this, and people say, "Oh gosh, this has been terrible for the football season." Heck, October is going to be the greatest month of football in the history of the game. You know, when all these,
Well,
this bunch starts playing every weekend, don't you think?
Well, and what I'm waiting on now, I think the Big Ten's going to come around too. I think the Big Ten's going to make an announcement. I think they're
Oh yeah, I think they will.
I think they start either the 10th or the 17th.
That's right.
Put Ohio State back in. I think probably Michigan sits out. I don't look for the whole conference to come in, but I think there'll be 8 or 9 teams.
I do too.
The Big Ten, which gives you more balance, particularly if Ohio State comes in.
Yeah.
Because they're preseason ranked right at the top, and they got everybody back from last year.
How many games would you think it would take for them to qualify for the playoffs? Would it have to be 8 or 10?
I think 8. I think it'll be 8.
At least 8. As long as they play 8, they'll qualify.
Right. Yeah, I think that's the way they go. That's everything I've read and people I've talked to. That's the magic number right there.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. Think about this. ACC's playing 11. SEC's playing 10. If the Big Ten comes in and plays 8, then they're going to have to come up with a formula somewhere. If a team, let's say Ohio State goes 8-0 and Alabama goes 9-1.
Yeah.
And there's a tie in there somewhere with the Oklahoma and Texas. Who won't get seeded? I mean, I think there's where the committee's going to have a problem to evaluate them.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly right. And the rating systems will be more important than ever, I reckon, won't you? Don't you think?
Absolutely. It absolutely will. And it's a week-by-week thing because, let's just say they get halfway through, and let's say Alabama's ready to play, and let's say Mississippi State's got 12 cases, and they don't play at Mississippi State.
Yeah.
Do they give Alabama a forfeit in that? How do they do that? Which team gets a win, or they just cancel that?
That's right.
Don't count it on either way.
And Pat, Max, while you're on here, I want to give people some information on these. And this is just now. This is just for Friday, and I don't know for sure how they're going to do this thing because there's going to be some cancellations. But I wanted people to know that these are some big games here locally that are not going to be played. One of them is the Abbeville at Geneva County of Hartford, and of course that's the team that got the running back that gained 365 yards. That game is Abbeville at Geneva County. That game is still on. Arrington at GW Long. That game's still on. And looking at Northside Methodist at North Bay Haven is still on. Pike County and Trinity is still on. So is Reeltown and Goshen. The Rehoboth Pike Road game, Rehoboth has forfeited, so they won't have to play. Pike Road is loaded. Andalusia and Charles Henderson has been moved from Thursday to Friday, so that game is still on. But boy, I tell you what, when these roads start flooding and all that, you got another problem other than the virus, don't you think?
You absolutely do. I think all of that's going to play a role. It wouldn't surprise me to see some of them move to Saturday.
That's right. That's what I was fixing to say. You might see some high school games move to Saturday, no question about it. And now Troy and Middle Tennessee play at 3 o'clock on ESPN2. You'll be able to watch that, Max. Let's just say this. Middle Tennessee looked terrible in their game against Army.
They did.
But I don't think that's indicative though of the way they'll play against Troy. They won't have to worry about an option type attack that had a vicious running. Evidently, Army's got a vicious running attack. I think they'll match up a lot better with Troy than they did with Army. So I look for it to be a lot closer game. Wouldn't you think?
Yeah, now I know Rick Stockville pretty well, the head coach up there. Been doing it for years. I was disappointed in some of the decisions they made toward the end of the game. I don't know why they had 2 timeouts left. They just didn't do it. The game was not up to par. I'd be interested to see if they've improved any because I've not heard much about the Troy program since the playing year.
Yeah.
I think it'll be a really interesting ball game, Mike.
Yeah. Well, I do too, and let me just say this. Some things that I was looking at here. Tony Franklin, at one time he was the hero. Everywhere you went is Tony Franklin this, Tony Franklin that, and you don't hear as much about him, but he is their offensive coordinator, and he's supposed to be a guru. But have people caught up with Tony Franklin like they've caught up with other coaches over the years?
That's one thing, Mike. But let me just remember, the gurus have to have people that can execute the guru.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
You got to have the great players out there. No matter what you know between your ears, if you ain't got the player that can do it, then it's not going to amount to much. I mean, look, when we had Emmett Smith, we had running backs before him, after Emmett, but none of them could do what Emmett did. And we didn't change the offense. It was all about it wasn't about the system. Basically it was about the talent level. And I think that's what's happened to Tony. Is he had landed a place where he had enough players that could, put him back on the main stage.
Exactly right. Of course, schools are out this morning. County schools, Pike County, have closed their doors today with Pike Liberal Arts canceling classes for Wednesday, and other people expected to announce their plans today. By closing today. We don't know exactly what's going to happen yet on Thursday. We're going to have a show here on Thursday, I think, but we've just got to see what kind of weather is going to be coming through here. Max Howell is sitting there soaking in the sun this morning while we're worried about if we have to have a boat to get to our car.
Yeah. Well, we're supposed to get a little overcast later today, but no rain. It's like 10% chance.
Yeah,
the next 2 days. And then after Thursday, the next week, 0 chance of rain up here.
Yeah, that's right. You still carry your mask everywhere you go, don't you?
Oh yeah, I keep 2 or 3. Sometimes I forget to put it on. I have to go back to the car.
I've done that. You're right. I've done that many times.
I'm gonna tell you, that has to be a learned trait, Mike.
Yeah, exactly.
That's not inherent.
Yeah.
I don't respond to stuff that I don't repeat a lot. So I keep it. I'm trying to adhere to. I try not to go places.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
I go in a couple of restaurants. I go to the grocery store, but I don't go to. I don't. Obviously, the movie theaters are open up here. I don't go to the movie theater. I don't do all the crowd thing at all. And I'm not about to go to a ball game, but I try to adhere to the social distancing and wear the mask wherever I go in public.
Yeah, no question about it. Pike Liberal Arts has canceled their game Friday night. I think that will be a forfeit because of the COVID-19 virus. The Troy, of course, Pike County, Goshen, Zion Chapel, Arrington, Charles Henson will all get on the field on Friday nights, hopefully, with 3 home games and 2 games away. Troy will be on the road at Middle Tennessee. Of course, we talked about that earlier. And so things still might go on, but it's going to have to shut down pretty quickly on Thursday for people to start thinking about a game on Friday. Wouldn't you think, Max? You can't just...
I think most of the schools, from everything I keep up with, Mike, at the college level, their finals testing goes in on Thursday.
Yeah.
They get the results back by Friday. And they make the determination. They make the determination to play a new gameplay. That puts a burden on the fans, though, because they may cancel a ball game Friday afternoon.
Yeah,
you've already got all your plans ready to go to the ball game, and then all of a sudden the game's not going to be played.
That's right. I'm going to tell you this. I'll just be honest with you. Normally I would have jumped at the chance to go to Murfreesboro to watch the game, but until I heard how hard it was for a friend of mine to get tickets. But at the same time, I don't know if I want to be at arm's length everywhere I go at a football game. It's something that's going to be hard to get used to. Should I wear my mask the whole time I'm there, or when I get some popcorn and a Coca-Cola, can I take my mask off? They say you can, but how strict are they going to be?
Well, I think that's the whole thing, Mike, is the unknown on how these different stadiums, because we've seen everywhere from 25 or 30% capacity, and they sit in groups, and they all got masks on. We've seen others like this past weekend have a mask on.
That's right.
They're mingling around and moving around, and it just looks like to me there's no organized effort across the board. Now, that's why I'd be interested to see if the SEC is going to monitor that school by school, or they let them make their own decision.
You know, we were looking at this Sun Belt Conference. You look at Arkansas State, you look at Louisiana Lafayette, and you look at Appalachian State, and maybe you can throw in Georgia Southern if you wanted to. But I tell you, a powerhouse starting to happen is this one up in the Carolinas. They were a good-looking football team. Did you watch them at all?
Yeah, I did. I did watch it. I did watch that because, you know, I follow us Coastal Carolina. I followed them a little bit.
We're talking about Coastal Carolina.
Yeah, they've recruited a few kids out of North Mississippi. So I've got a little connection with those guys as far as following them some. But they're well coached.
And they're big and strong too up front. I thought their front was real strong, and you got to have that to win. And then another sleeping giant, and I hate to say this, but it's the truth, is South Alabama. Now that they've got their own campus stadium now, you watch them there, and there's no better recruiting hotbed in this country, Max, than South Alabama's got. Wouldn't you say?
Well, it is, but they draw. Remember, they draw from everybody in the country down there as well.
Oh yeah.
Like they don't have, they got a first shot at them when they start with them in the 9th or 10th grade. But they better do Cameron and them better do their homework, on a consistent basis. The stadium's going to help. I don't think there's any doubt about that. But I just saw some glaring mistakes toward the end of that ball game. You pointed out one about the right tackle offensively, but they made some mistakes on defense in the secondary as well. See, Will Hall is a big friend of mine.
Oh, yeah.
He's the offensive coordinator at Tulane, and I knew a lot about his offense.
Is he the offensive coordinator at South Alabama?
No, he's the offensive coordinator at Tulane.
At Tulane, yeah, that's right. I was wondering about that, yeah.
Yeah, and I watched every snap that he did, and they threw some system out there that South Alabama could cut.
Yeah.
That's to say, I think the jump out 24 points, 24-6, I believe, or whatever, and then lose the ball game at the end. It tells me that the team is not solid in every snap. I don't know where it was early in the season. They just beat Southern Miss. That tells you a lot about Southern Miss. But I'm not still sold on how good South Alabama is yet. Yeah,
well, we'll have to find out. No question about it. I was looking at this weekend, and I had seen Tulane play Auburn last year, and boy, they've got some players. Their quarterback is really, really good, don't you think?
He is a good player. He absolutely is.
And of course, you got to have a good quarterback to have a good football team. I'm about to think.
Yeah. You got to start there.
How good within the pros, Baltimore being in the pros without that quarterback? How good would they be? They wouldn't win a game without him, would they?
No, see, it's got to start there, and I think the higher up you go, like to the NFL, it's even more important.
Yeah.
Because everybody else around you at that level. In Division I, it ought to be the same way. Everybody around you ought to be pretty good because you can recruit to that.
Yeah.
Where the significant difference is, Mike, is at the high school level. That's why usually the best athlete plays quarterback. Now, he may go to the next level and not play quarterback. He may be a wide receiver, a defensive back. Like the Pumpkin kid at Ole Miss. The Pumpkin kid is a 6 feet, 190-pound, runs a 4.4. He was starting quarterback at Ole Miss for 8 games last year. He ain't going to play quarterback this year.
He's not.
They can move him to a slot back, and the Corral kid out of California is going to be the quarterback for Kiffin at Ole Miss.
Well, you take Troy, for instance, the good article in the paper today about their quarterbacks. Of course, they're going to go with Gunnar Watson, the guy that's been there for a couple of years. And then the backups would be the young man from Brantley, who little Brantley, and the other quarterback, other guy that's in the running is the pure freshman from South Georgia, and the junior college All-American, the guy that everybody was saying, heck, Troy just signed the number 2 junior college quarterback in the country. Well, he's right now the 4th string quarterback at Troy.
And normally that's the one you look to transfer.
That's right, exactly. You would have thought he'd gone a long time ago. Is that right?
Yeah, I mean, normally if a kid comes to junior college rank and he's ranked high, that means he's got talent. But it may be a situation that he doesn't fit what Chip wants to do. There's several reasons why take a step back once you get to the last level.
And and as good as junior college ball is, it's still not Division 1A football, is it?
No. Yeah. Those kids that come through that, notice you just take 1 or 2 off any team, regardless of how good they are, because they just are part of the picture once they get to the last level, to Division 1. That's it. And I told you 100 times, Mike, the recruiting process is a intense evaluation that usually takes about 3 years to really find out how good that kid is.
Yeah.
And, because does he take coaching? Is he self-disciplined? Can he learn the system? There's 100 different things. What about his family life? What about his character? Academic? Can he learn to read and write? I mean, I just give you 100 things. What about his girlfriend?
Yeah, exactly.
Is she at another school and he's trying to go there every night or whatever?
Somebody told me about this great quarterback, pure freshman Troy's got. His name is Rule, his last name, and O'Toole. Somebody, I asked him, I said, how did Troy get this guy? I mean, he's one of the top quarterbacks in Georgia. I said, how'd they get him? And then somebody said, I believe he had a girlfriend on the volleyball team.
Exactly right. I'm telling you that. You don't think that doesn't happen.
He's a true freshman.
Mike, you got to remember, these kids are looking for some companionship, either male or female, because that's the first time they ever been away from home.
Yeah, no question about it. Yeah.
And if they go to a campus and unless they're extremely mature and if had a lot of experiences in life before they get out of high school, you're gonna lose them. I mean, they gonna transfer. I've had them leave during the night.
Yeah, but and when I played, it happened every night. So you'd hear them cranking up the car. You don't see that anymore though much, Max. I reckon they're content because they feed them so well now. They don't want to leave.
But Mike, here's the difference though. Remember, some of them come in December. Some of them come in June.
Yeah.
They're all sober. When that was happening, all of them came in the 1st of August at one time.
Yeah.
And we hadn't had any contact with them. And you got to remember, they lived with mom and daddy for 18 years. And all of a sudden, they in a whole new environment. And then, in what I call the herd mentality, we had 100 of them out there, and we tried to treat them all just alike. And some of those kids could stand there. That's why they took off.
Yeah, exactly. Well, it's been really something. Troy's been. I tell you, they have been together since June, since early June. I mean, these kids have got to be sick of football, Max. I mean, they have been. They've been out there now without helmets. They can go out. They were out early June. And
back when this thing about the Big Ten and Harbaugh came, we put a team together in 2 weeks. That's the reason why. The average fan has no clue. These kids work out 4 days a week on the field. It's called unofficial practice. The coaches aren't there, but use the strength and conditioning guys out there. The quarterbacks running plays with them. Offensive linemen doing drills. They in the weight room. And so, don't ever think that just because the coaches have been there, they can't put a game together or team together in a week or two.
Yeah.
All they got to do is put a game plan and they go to work. So, I've tried to dispel that. I listen to talk shows everywhere. These guys that it's going to take them 4 weeks or 6 weeks to get ready. That's bull. I mean, you just admitted Troy's been on the field every day since
That's right. Yeah, that's right.
And everybody else has too, Mike. Everybody has.
And people say, oh, Ohio State and Penn State and Nebraska, they're not ready. Heck, they've been ready. They've been ready. Those guys are ready to go right now. They could play tomorrow, don't you think? Without a question.
Ain't no doubt about that. You got to remember, those kids they on scholarship. That's like a contract. You know, they go to class, but they got to go to work too, and they have to.
Exactly right.
You got to remember that, and remember too, what the coaching staff in the university can hold over. Those are 1-year contracts now. That 4 years.
Yeah.
So that can be changed anytime. You can be fired from your job.
Yeah.
Any day of the week.
Max, I was looking over some high school games that are coming up, and hopefully they'll get this game in with Geneva County and a very good Abbeville team. Geneva County's running back last week gained 367 yards and 5 touchdowns. The running back for Abbeville is named Martavius Glanton. He picked up 253 yards rushing and 2 touchdowns. They play each other this weekend. I might drive down there just to see that game. That old Hartford stadium is one of those old-timey stadiums too, and but again, high school football goes on, and as long as they don't flood everything out down there, there's going to be some good games this weekend.
Mike, how does high school enter the crowd? Is it just
you got to have you got to use a computer. You got to have it's got to be online. You get your ticket online. Can you believe that?
Okay.
It's no actual ticket, given to.
See, that's funny because half the counties in Mississippi don't even have internet.
That's right. Yeah. I was noticing Saturday, and you know this very well. If especially with the defenses they run now, you better have a nose guard that is going to have to be blocked by 2 players. It's going to take 2 players to block him. Well, Troy's got a freshman, a pure freshman out of Summerdale, Georgia. And a lot of people think that Georgia plays better football than anybody. He's 6'1", weighs 315 pounds. He's a pure freshman. He's going to start at the nose guard position. Can you believe that?
Well, you go back and look at the kids, and we've said that before, Mike, the kids coming out of high school now, they're better prepared. They've got a better background. They've been on the weight room since they've been in the 8th grade. All that stuff plays a role in why you got so many freshmen. And the great ones, here's 2 things I'm going to tell you. The great ones are going to leave after 3 years, but they're going straight to the NFL.
Yeah.
That's first. Where the college teams fall down is they don't recruit right behind them. I mean, look, you don't think when I was at Florida State that we weren't already looking for defensive backs from Leroy Butler and Deion Sanders and all?
Yeah, no, yeah.
You got to recruit. You can't just rest on their laurels. You got to have somebody come. If you don't, you put the balls in the dumps.
All right. Hear this. This is what makes this guy different. He said we recruited him. He was a wrestler and weighed 285. When we got him, now he weighs about 315. They feed them like you wouldn't believe now, Max. I mean, they can put 30 pounds on a guy in a month just off the food that they feed them, like champions, unreal.
Well, they leave those dining hall home. They keep, we had a dining hall in the dome.
Yeah.
They had to do away with the domes. I'd like to see that come back, by the way.
Yeah.
But they leave the dining hall open until 10 o'clock at night.
Exactly right. And they eat, and they eat, and they eat, and then when they're not eating, they're working out weights. He said
exactly right.
they say he's got great feet and he's powerful. With him being a wrestler, he's good with his hands, and he just got tremendous upside. Obviously, he's still a freshman and trying to learn the scheme and how to play the game, but I think his potential is outstanding as far as his skill set. and you're right, being a wrestler, so the best football players I knew were wrestlers. John Hannah was one of them.
Ain't no doubt about it. I remember when we first got there, that was another job I had. I coached a wrestling team.
Yeah, you sure did.
So, and that was all we used that for was off-season conditioning.
Well, Max, we got to go, Max. They're signaling to us. We got to go. I don't know if I'll have to get in a boat to get in my truck or not, but it's, ladies and gentlemen, please pay attention to what's going on in your community. Call the police station, and they'll tell you who you need to talk to. Your emergency management people will help you out and let you know what you need to do. Don't take a chance on these floods or you could be in trouble. Max, one thing I mentioned was if you're in a vehicle and you think you're going over a mud puddle, it might be a whole river you're trying to go over. And it can kill you and your family if you don't watch it. Thank you again, Max, for bearing with us this morning.
Hey, listen, always my pleasure, Mike. We'll do it again next week.
Have a great weekend. And go Trojans.
You do likewise.
Bye-bye.
All right.
Okay. I hope you enjoyed today's show, ladies and gentlemen, and you can watch us again at 1:30 today. Hope you enjoyed it. We'll be here tomorrow for